Ahoy toy, welcome back to Transfixed, the channel that is compliant with all Department of Transportation safety codes. Today we're going to look at cykill as promised. And he's not cykill yet, he's Bike Robo. But when we're finished with him, he's going to be King of the Gods.
King of the Gods, eh? That I am, but my true name is Lord Cykill.
And watching back the old cartoon made me really fall in love with cykill. He's just one of these great classic 80s villains. And Bernard Earhart, the voice actor, did such a great job of bringing this character to life. He's got one of those voices that's just dripping with evil for evil's sake. And I love it. It really makes the character so intimidating. Oh, come on. Just stop it. Don't do that. He captures some poor little aliens and puts them to work, and then when they rebel, he is so offended.
What's that noise?
The alarm! There's a rebellion in the tunnels!
A rebellion? I'll put a stop to that.
He sounds like he's so offended. It's like, rebellion? I went to all the trouble to capture and enslave you, and you rebel? This guy was giving the voice work 100%. I almost said 110%, but I'm not Lou Ferrigno. And it's just great. He just made him come alive. I love it. Leader 1, on the other hand, is just like Wet Noodle. I don't remember him at all. He's so bland. I do have a Leader 1 on order, but he's not here yet. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sort of fill in his face and then draw a face on it. So just a quick overview of how he comes. He's pretty good. This is the first in the Action Toys lineup where they try to relaunch the GoBots as a slightly larger and more articulate figure. Kind of like a Masterpiece GoBot, right? But not as big. And slightly cheaper. But the problem is you can tell it's the first. It's not as great as the Shuttle Robo that I got. Here's the Shuttle Robo, by the way. Shuttle Robo is very cool. He's spacey in the GoBots canon. And he's got a great face sculpt. Really nice little figure. Easy transformation. My only problem was these flaps here. This part here becomes the side of the shuttle. But when it folds in, one was fine. This usually looks like that in the pictures, but you're supposed to collapse it all the way in. You can see there's a notch there, so it goes flat, right? But on one side, this side here, it didn't collapse properly. So I had to shave all the plastic down around this entire hinge to get it to do that. So that's disappointing, like right out of the box. It's a QC issue, I suppose. His arms are a bit, I don't know, the shoulders are a bit bulky. It's hard to get him to pose, but otherwise he's quite good. I love the little rocket booster feet. When he's in shuttle mode, you can clip his weapons underneath here. This gun actually disassembles. You take off the magazine, and you can take off the front piece and attach it to him. Yeah, really cool figure. Very happy with spay-c Shuttle Robo. So I'm not going to modify him. Very nice figure. A lot of die cast. Most of the legs are die cast. The chest is die cast. cykill has die cast chest and legs as well. And this is what he looks like in his bike mode, pretty much. A couple of differences though from the, I want to say G1, but these handlebars were part of the original toy, whereas here you got to pop them out. They're separate pieces, and that is because it lets you put the wheels into the holes there, which the original toy could do too. But these are still integrated. I wish they'd found a way to do that. It's a bit unfortunate that they couldn't. So I'm just going to take these off and get them slowly put into robot mode. I do like how the engine is formed from folding pieces of his legs. One thing the original toy did not have was a kickstand. So it's nice that he has this kickstand that you can plug in on either side. There's an identical port on the other side. So that's nice. He actually can stand with that. These I find a bit loose. These exhausts keeps falling down. This keeps falling down. He's just a bit loose in some places, and also when I transform him, I find this whole piece just comes off. I think it's supposed to tilt back to allow his arms to move, but I found it just popped right out. So that's unfortunate. I guess I should move him out of the way. Spacey. So we'll just sort of stick that back in there. I'm just going to transform him so you can see what he looks like in his original robot mode. GoBot mode? Anyway. So these legs come down. Oh, gotta get the wheel out. The wheels are identical. They do have rubber, kind of a hard rubber tire on them. Now for these, there's a lot of bending that goes on here. So there's this foot inside here. This foot needs to come out. There's a little tab there, that's handy. So you do like this, rotate it around, and then swing it back over. And then this part of the leg here folds down, folds again, and again, and then there's this little piece here that also unfolds, just to give it a bit of extra leg. Of course, the same on the other side. Sorry about my voice, I'm still getting over a cold. Just lasting forever. The cool thing about cykill was that voice. Man, he was just oozing evil charisma on the show, and I love it. I love just hearing any scene with cykill. Okay, so then we close up his hips, or his pelvis, I suppose, and swing his arms into the correct positions here. And there we go. Now, there was a larger release of cykill, or by Robo, which did have an alternate head to give him the GoBots version. Two faces, like a smiling, grinning, and a sort of more standard one, and that was great, but he's much larger. And there was no other releases so far, just that one. So I don't really have a place for that in my collection. You get just one cykill. So that's pretty much him in his GoBot mode. But we'll put these wheels on like he's supposed to have. He also comes with this axe, which is quite pointy. And I think it's supposed to store somewhere in his tailpipe there when he's in the bike mode, but I forgot to put it in and couldn't quite. You have to do it during transformation, otherwise there's no space. So pretty good, but that face is not cykill, and I want it to be cykill. So I'm going to try to take this off. Yep, it's on a ball joint. So we're going to take it off. And I've got two ideas here. I'm going to try to paint it to look like the cartoon. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to print out an image and stick it on top. Now the first thing I want to do is separate the head pieces, because I think it'll be a lot easier to paint this face if I get it apart. And there's a seam here. And it's not too hard to access from the bottom. So if you get a metal spudger or maybe a knife, if you're very careful, or something flat and metal, and just push in here and pry around and try to separate. You can see I've got a bit of a gap there now. I need to try to separate this all the way around. I believe it's glued together, so it's going to be tough, but I'm going to work away at it on a hard surface, which I can't really do on camera. And I broke it. Awesome. It's definitely glued together. I mean, I can glue it back together, but that is unfortunate. Well, I might as well keep going. Well, it's getting there. I'm using the pointy end of this now and going around one side and the other side. There's a kind of a tab that goes all the way through, so I need to avoid that. Here we go. Yeah, okay, now I've got it separated. I can glue that back together. Not the end of the world. And, yeah, so this part now needs to pop out. It's a shame they glued all this together. I think it's glued, or it's very tight. Alright, there we go. Now I've got the face out. Gotta take his face off. So this will be much easier to paint, even though the shape of the face is not going to give me a great cykill, but I'll see what I can do with it. So here's the result of Plan A. Painting the face. It didn't go super well. I used an X-Acto knife to try to kind of notch out that mouth from his tiny little mouth to make a bit of an evil grin here, and then painted it black with a black pen. Actually, if I tilt it down, it's not so bad. One of the problems is his face is just too small, but I did try to paint it, and I find it's actually difficult to nail down what color cykill's face is, depending on which screen capture you look at. It kind of could be anywhere from an orange to a brown to a beige. It exists somewhere in between these tones. When I think of cykill, though, you kind of think orange. And the Machine Robo Special Edition did have more of an orange-colored face. But I don't know, that just didn't really work for me. So I ended up going with this Tester's grapefruit color. And it's close enough for me. But I'm not happy with the results. And then, of course, he's supposed to have gray around his mouth and on the sides. I thought that was going to be tricky, so I used my chrome silver pen to paint that in, and it's not so great. So that's okay. Again, the problem is that the face is kind of small compared to the cartoon, where he's got they make the face take up most of the head, right? So that he doesn't have this big dome on top. So I'm going to go with plan B, and I printed out some test images here. So here's a few screenshots, and then this one is kind of a straight-on shot here. So I cut one of those out. This is slightly larger, and these are supposed to be in color, but they changed the printers at work. Yeah, I printed them at work, and they don't. I seem to not have. I've lost my access to the color printing for some reason. So I'll get a color printout and then stick it on here. I think that's gonna look fine if I get it to fit right. All right, so I've glued the head back together. Had to glue it because I screwed it up.
Good work, Screwhead.
And printed out some faces. Yeah, so I got those black and white ones just to test the size, and then I got some color ones now and just cut them out with an X-Acto knife. And if you're more decisive than I am, you could just glue the face on at this point. But, so these are the two faces I printed out. I couldn't decide if I wanted him to be smiling or to be having evil grimace, you know? So the one on the left here is a still from the animation. The one on the right is actually a t-shirt design. So I hope the creator of that shirt is not watching this. But if you are, thanks. So what I'm going to do is just use some of this poster tack and stick it on the face with that. Then I can have interchangeable, swappable faces. So I'll just stick a little wad on his face, like your mum. And then we'll put on the angry face here first. Took me a little trial and error to print out the right size of face, but I think I got it. And this is just a ball socket joint. And there we go. Cykill. Pretty close, huh? I think it's close enough. And then I can just take this off. If I want to have angry cykill. Okay, that doesn't look super great, but if I move it down. I think it's better than the original, so. So there he is, ready to take on some guardians. So that's my cykill mod. Thanks for watching part 2 of this GoBots video. Next one's going to be a G.I. Joe video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.